All right. Good evening, everybody. Let's do the audio visual check to start us off. Coach Hoop already shouting out Bitcoin. Looks good, sounds good. All right. New night, fresh night. Let's just get to it and start the night off right. So, as always, there's our Topstep risk disclosure. Very important thing we always talk about and start the evening off. Everything that I say and go over is for educational purposes only. So we'll do the regular rapid fire, NASDAQ, crude oil, Nikkei, gold, talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been the conversation of the past few weeks, and get to some question, maybe some statistics, and maybe some strategy. I don't know. What does everyone in here think? Should we talk some strategy, talk about some trades, and get to some questions, maybe dive a little bit more in depth of trading? Bullish on CPI tomorrow. We do have CPI. Anyway, let's get to it. Take a look. This is a daily on the NASDAQ. You can see we had this huge rally, obviously. Nothing really changes in a day, right? That's the thing about a daily candle. You only get one candlestick every single day. So we're forming something. We're consolidating, right? Like easy consolidation, whether you want to look at it like this, however you want to look at this. But where have we seen this before? Because we've seen this before, and if we look back in the past, and if we just take a picture of this, what we've seen after the rally, 1, 2, 3 days, and we look over here on the left, we sometimes after we have a rally, I mean, are we going to form something like this? Are we going to form something like we have typically seen? I mean, here's this, right? I'm not sure. This is looking pretty familiar. Whenever we hit some highs, maybe we have a little bit of consolidation. I'm not sure. I'm looking at this as just a flagging pattern of consolidation. We're sitting at all-time highs, and we really haven't moved anywhere. Like all-time highs, not going anywhere, hanging around 21,200. We go up 100 points, sell off 100 points. And then as we start to zoom in, you can see that consolidation, big rally, consolidation. And in consolidation, that's been the play, right? We look to buy the dip and sell the highs. And whether are we going to be, what do we want to say? Whether we're looking at maybe this resistance zone, this was the resistance zone I was looking at for the New York session as a major resistance zone, as you could see. And I mean, this is a major support and resistance zone right here at the 240s, 250s. It's a decent zone. And so I think that's what I'm going to be looking for, is just the play for consolidation. I mean, this did look like a head and shoulders, right, from a technical standpoint, where I was saying, here's a shoulder, here's a possible head, and this is another shoulder. Do we sell off and break the neckline and continue down? Well, we sure did try. We tried. The market tried. We tried to break through. And is this called a rejected head and shoulders? We tried, and the buyers sure as heck stepped in here at the 21,050s and bought it right back up over 150 points. So maybe we come back down and test this again. Maybe we come back up and test the 220s, but nothing too crazy. I'm not seeing any trending market right now. I'm not seeing any amazing opportunities. Maybe a long up to the consolidation that we were today. Playing in the middle, I think this is just one of those markets where we wait and we look for the opportunity either during the New York session, during the London session. And talking about the London session, if you guys didn't see already on X or Twitter, I may or may not be joining D for the London session, Deeyana. And so that's going to be interesting. And there's been some amazing moves that's been happening overnight during the London session. So I'm going to join And I believe it's going to be tonight's Tuesday. It's going to be Thursday morning. I'll talk more about that. Like I said, I've been trying to be more active on Twitter, and you can follow Topstep's Twitter as well, because they've been putting it up as soon as they get it. But here it is, NASDAQ. We did come down, we rejected, and is this just a buy? We're still in buy the dip market. We really are. And so is this just a buy the dip after a nice rally and we have a pullback? Are we going to see continuations back up to these 230s? Not sure. If we zoom in, and we're continuing to zoom in like Google Maps, maybe this is a buy the dip opportunity. We have some support here at the 140s. We have a little bit of support here at, just the 140s. There's a bit of support. If this doesn't hold and we start to sell off, down we go. And there's Rips. There's Rips in the chat. Up at night. Joining in. Sounds like we have a party tonight. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at crude oil. Then maybe I want to talk about Nikkei, because there could be a setup I've been watching and I've been looking at in the Nikkei. But here's crude oil. I think it's more of the same on crude. There was an opportunity to sell a pullback. We had a nice sell-off. We got that pullback up to 69, and then we sold it right back down to 68. If we continue to break down, like I said, I'm looking for these 67s, these lower 67s to come into play. I'm not bullish crude like I typically am. I do think that just waiting, seeing if we could find an opportunity to sell a rally rather than buy a pullback, because if we do break, you can see there's a lot of momentum to the downside. So I think it's just shorts at play. There was an opportunity that happened in the New York session early in the morning where we did rally up. That could have been a great short opportunity. So I think maybe just looking for consolidation, and if we do break down these 67s, then maybe there's opportunity to maybe look for some longs around $67 a barrel. I'm not sure. Just looking through basic technical analysis, and this doesn't look like it would be very strong to hold up. Maybe we see something that crude oil likes to do, and that's run stops and then maybe start to rally back up towards 68. I'm not sure. Very similar to the NASDAQ is we are at the lows. It's hard to buy it down here, and it's also hard to sell it, because this is just kind of selling already after we've sold off so far so quick, and the risk reward's not too great for the way that I trade. Now Nikkei's the one that I've been watching. Oh, and there she goes. Anyway, before I came on stream, I've been watching the Nikkei, and I was actually talking to Rips. Since Rips is in the chat, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. We were having some fun conversation about trading the Nikkei during the Asian session, and I was looking at it, and Rips, if you're still here, you could probably vouch for me. I was saying, this 39 400s are looking like a really good short, and we was talking about, well, where do we think this market could go? And I was like, we're going to fall off a cliff, and we might be seeing 38.80 within the next couple hours, and here we are. We did sell off last night. We've got the nice pullback up to 39 300s, and this was a nice area of support. This area of support became resistance, and we started to sell off, and this is another major area of support. And we tested it once, twice, 3 times, and we go down and we test it again, and here we are, 38,955. What a move. And if we zoom in to a 5-minute chart, you can kind of see as we're falling off a cliff here, like this was the support from yesterday. This was a support from this morning. We rallied up, and this happened really quick, right during the start and during the open of the future markets at 5-6 p.m. Central. We rallied up to these 40s. We rejected, beautiful 3-bar reversal, and sold all the way off. Tested it once, got a little bit of a bounce, and just as I've been speaking, we broke right through this. And where can this market go? Yeah, maybe we see 38 800. I don't see too much support holding this market up here in the Nikkei, maybe right where we're at. But we are just starting to break down. And if you're trading a breakdown or a breakout trade, you trade the momentum and the direction of the market. So, this thing can continue to sell off. Maybe it gets even more vicious and we start to see somewhere around these 38,800s, 3800s. But what a vicious move here in the Nikkei. I have no words. That's quite the move, and we're not stopping right now. We're down 1.25%, 1.25%. I mean, I've seen 2%. We see 2% moves here in the Nikkei relatively often, right? Nikkei is very volatile. It's not for the faint of heart, and you can see these sell-offs can get pretty vicious at times, and so. Take a look at this. Back on November 6th, what a sell-off here. And so if this thing, which is Nikkei, the Japanese market, it could just continue to get uglier. I'm going to keep watching this. We'll keep watching this. Maybe, just maybe, if we can get down to these 38,800s, maybe upper 38,700s, I might look to take a long. That's a maybe. That's a maybe. It just depends on what we do if we get there. So if we do get down to these 38,700s, 38,800, then I'm going to watch and see if we could find the market to stabilize, some type of technical analysis like a 3-bar reversal, and just see how we react. Because the Nikkei, when it goes, it can go fast. And it's $25 per tick. Because we keep on going. Look at this. And if I pull, it's not stopping. There's 38,800s. 38,800s. As I am speaking, what a freaking market. Do we just sit here and watch this? Do we just watch the NASDAQ or the Nikkei sell off? This is something else. Let's move on before here we go again. Let's take a look at gold. And gold is rallying. We're getting a nice bounce in gold. Let's take a look at the hourly. I like to look at the higher time frames. We did get a sell-off. We did get a continuation. And let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at those measured moves that we were talking about last time. Whether we wanted to measure it for this. We did get one. I mean, it looks pretty dang similar to what we've seen earlier, right? Where we had that sell-off and then we had a run for stops. So maybe something like that is more accurate. I mean, it's very hard, right? Where we did get to 2,600 even here in gold, and that's now acting as support. And that's a pretty bullish candle on gold from 2604 to 2616. And does it make sense? I mean, yeah. There's a lot of support and resist. There's a lot that happened right here around 2,600. So maybe we see a continued pullback. Maybe we see a pullback up to the mid 2,600s here in gold. I mean, that's one move here in gold. I mean, look at that. That's a nice flagging pattern and a break of that flagging pattern. Maybe we come up and test these lower to mid 20s tonight, and it's not even 8 p.m. It's not even 8 p.m. yet, but here we go, straight up in gold. I'll continue to watch these. I'm continuing to watch the markets. Markets are moving. They're moving a little bit without me. Nikkei is continuing to sell off. Let's take a look at the 1 minute, and let's take a look. You guys are just shouting out NASDAQ. Now remember what I say, and typically I say this a lot, but you do not spam. Do not spam chat, please. If you spam chat, that's a quick way to getting eliminated from the chat. We're here to keep it nice and clean because the chat moves fast and I don't always get to everything. So yeah, NASDAQ's selling off as well. That makes sense because the Nikkei is selling off. So yeah, I mean, how do you trade this, right? The move has already happened, and so you just have to watch it. Like if you're trying to chase the market, at least for me anyway, that there's nothing to do. Like all you could do is just sit here and watch it, because now I mean, you don't want to sell it down here. Like, just similar to what I was talking about on crude oil, is we've came so far so fast. It's hard to sell it down here. You just maybe wait for a pullback, a test of 39,000 or something, and look for continuation to the downside. Talking about the NASDAQ, someone saying Japanese PPI came out 3.4 year over year as compared to the estimate 2.9. Let's take a look at this Trader Hub. Maybe we could see, let's see. Australian wage, going through the news. Yeah, you could see China. Here's all the news. Let's take a look. So maybe there was news that caused this market to move. I typically watch the markets first, and then I get the news after. I'm horrible. I'm always one of the last people to get the news, and I pay attention to the markets first. Yeah. Now we're getting a little bit of a bounce here in the Nikkei. Let's look. I'm looking at the Nikkei because the Nikkei is volatile. It's moving. It's the Asian session. It's slow markets, and this is typically when we get a little bit more volatility in the Nikkei. Let me look at the NASDAQ. Is the NASDAQ? Yeah, see the NASDAQ's a little bit more tame and quiet at this time, so I'm okay focusing on the Nikkei a little bit more, and we are selling off a little bit. Let's take a look. What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin's been the talk of the town. You guys believe this? The house account today with Rips and I, we were actually long Bitcoin, one full Bitcoin. We were long a Bitcoin at what was it, 87,100, somewhere right here at the break of this, and that was one amazing trade. It's been buy the dip, and if I'm talking about Bitcoin, I mean, take a look at this, right? Like maybe we are gonna see another nice move to the long side. I could see that. I could see this happening. Man, I mean, if we could break through these 89,400, you know, this is Bitcoin, and you can see where it's just been buy the dip here on Bitcoin as well. I don't trade it very often, but we've been talking about it. I've been watching it since Sunday night. Everyone's talking about it. So it's a market. It's another instrument that we could trade. It's volatility. Technical analysis plays and comes into effect with Bitcoin, just like many markets, right? So I'm going to watch this. I'm going to see how Bitcoin reacts. See if, and this is purely because I don't trade it very often. I want to see how, I mean, it looks like it does play these technicals very well. But you could trade it here at Topstep. That's what you guys are seeing right now. I mean, take a look at this. Support and resistance. This is some support and resistance. I mean, there's a lot of support and resistance around this zone. And so maybe if we do get a breakout and a break through this 89,400, we can see continuation to the long side. On the flip side, if we do start to break through maybe this trend, maybe we can see a leg down, back down towards 87,000, maybe back down towards 87,500. I'm going to watch this. I think this is just going to be me watching and seeing. Maybe we could play around in a demo account to test it out, just to watch it, just like any other market. If you're going to, experiment in a new market, if you're going to test a new market, it's always better to test strategies to trade in a demo or in a sim account when you are new to an instrument. I've been trading for many years, and I'm still learning, especially when I look at a new instrument like Bitcoin that I've never traded before. I think to myself, I need to at least practice and trade Bitcoin in a sim environment for at least, for me, it's 3 months, maybe 2, depending on how the market's reacting. I don't trade in my live account with a new instrument unless I've tested it out in a sim environment for a few months anyway. So we'll see how it plays out here, if we can get a breakout of this zone to the long side. Let's take a look. We're going to continue. Markets are moving. It's a little bit of a faster market tonight. Markets are moving. I did not place a trade yet, but there were some really good trade setups that could have played out really well for this. Some really good trade setups. Let's do this. I'm going to pull up a sim account. My slow markets sim account, and I'm gonna have my live account on queue, but I'm gonna pull up my sim account, and yeah, let's just practice what we play And why not? We need to get you. I want to get used to trading Bitcoin and see how it reacts and see how it trades. We'll see that. And if we do see a setup, I did miss some of it. If it's good, I could easily switch over to a live account, take advantage of that opportunity. Okay, always just need to make sure I'm in what account I'm in. So going through this, and remember, if you guys have questions, just let me know. We have an amazing moderator that will be able to keep track of them, and I should be able to get to them as we have time. We're going to watch this. I'm going to continue watching the Nikkei and these others to see if there's any pullback here. Maybe we could watch this on a 100-tick chart. 100-tick chart is usually a little bit more cleaner. Yeah, you can see this was a nice trade. This one was a good one. Nice, beautiful setup for support, resistance, continuation to the downside. Now the question is, did the Nikkei already move an average true move? Yeah, see, this is one thing that always has me a little bit hesitant to trade, because that could have already been the move for the Nikkei, right? Because that was the move yesterday, and we measure this with the move today, and we've already made that measurement. We've already moved this move, right? Moved the move. And if we measure it against another one, yeah, look at that. It's weird how accurate that can be. I bet you we could do that with these ones as well. If we go through and we measure these decent sized moves, however we want to measure them. I mean, that one's very extreme, but let's keep, for the spirit of testing, we could go through and we can measure this. Okay, I really enjoy doing this. So, and if we can compare these measurements, I like to get an average. So this is something that I do, and it's simple, it's easy, it's straightforward, and it's uncannily, or I don't know if that's the right word, it's just weird how accurate it can be sometimes, where we take this and then we measure that, and we kind of just get the average, and that can be about where we see this market go. Now, that doesn't mean we can't see something like this, right, where it just goes crazy, and it's like a double the size, right? But it's understanding, sometimes we could get double the size, right? Just a 1 ATR or 1 measured move, or a 2 measured move on this craziness, right? And so, you never know, right? Will tonight be that crazy move where we could get double the size or double the move? Maybe. But so far, that has been a nice move already tonight. And maybe we just get a bounce off that. Maybe we're getting a bounce off that 855 now that I'm looking at it. Take a look at this. We did have, look, there's some support there, resistance, and it's a zone. It's not exactly perfect. And if we could see where we rejected, I mean, we rejected right there. And so maybe, is this the example where, this was resistance support and we just immediately bounced off of that? So that could have easily, been it. And now I'm looking at this, is this a 3-bar reversal on the 100-tick chart? Let's take a look at the 5-minute, and you can see this. Now we're rallying. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's still not doing anything. Let's take a look at gold. Maybe a 3-bar reversal to the downside. Like I said, I still don't like this 3-bar reversal on gold, just because if we look at the hourly chart, it's pretty dang bullish. And so that's why I say I don't look at only one time frame. It's very important to make sure you have at least 2 time frames. 2 time frames to get a good perspective, right? Where 1 hour time frame, do my analysis on a higher time frame to understand where the market's going, and then drop down a time frame. I like to use a 5-minute for my slow markets, and then make my decision off that. So I do like 3-bar reversals, and this right here, what you see in front of us on the 5-minute chart on gold, is technically a 3-bar reversal. But it's like, well, why don't I take it? Well, the reason why I'm not excited to take this 3-bar reversal is because of my analysis on an hourly time frame. And so sometimes that saves me from taking a lot of, bad trades, because you have to understand what's going on in the market on higher time frames sometimes. It's like, are we at a level of support? Are we at a level of resistance? We've already sold off, one of those measured moves, which I tend to like, and I talk about it relatively often. And so I'm going to refrain from taking a short on gold on the smaller time frame. And so maybe if we do sell off, right? So maybe if we do sell off down here towards, say, 2607, and then we get a 3-bar reversal, I might be more excited to take a 3-bar reversal to the long side. But it also doesn't mean that this one can't work out, because we can sell off and say, okay, that one would have worked out. It's just being more selective. I like to be more selective. Quality over quantity. That is the key. That is something I will always be preaching. Process over profits, quality over quantity. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still just kind of consolidating here. Still consolidating on Bitcoin. Okay, I think we have a breather for a minute, right at 7 p.m. So in 4 minutes, we do see a spike in volatility, but these markets are moving. So I don't know how the 8 p.m. spike in volatility is going to play out. We'll see. NASDAQ's looking heavy. NASDAQ's looking super heavy, where maybe we do start to sell off and gain momentum to the downside. Would I look for a swing trade going into PPI? If there's one that's a good setup, yes, I would look at a swing trade, but I wouldn't hold it into a news event. This will be something where I would either make sure I know I'm going to be waking up before a major news event, and make sure I have my stop loss and my take profit. Yeah, look at the Nikkei going through. I'm just going through all these markets, and I mean, crude oil is starting to rally on the 5-minute chart. But once again, I think this is another example. Crude oil, just like gold, analysis on the time frame, it's hard to take trade setups on these smaller time frames, or I'm not seeing, and when I did the analysis on the higher time frame, like an hourly chart, I'm not seeing anything that I would like to hold overnight as a slow markets trade. Let's go to... I'm going back and forth through these different markets. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of tempted to get into a long on the Nikkei. I want to see how we react first. I want to see some, maybe a higher low on the Nikkei, because we could continue to sell off down to this 800. So maybe I just wait. On this aspect, because I do like this candlestick. It was a major. We did have a nice major bounce, or buyers stepped in there. So let's just watch. Maybe we take a look at some Bitcoin. Let's watch some Bitcoin. I'm going to split this up. I'm going to have 2 charts open. Oh, I don't want. There we go. Make sure it's nice and clear. Make sure I'm on the same time. I'm going to split this. I'm going to put 2 charts on here, and I'm going to just make sure this is good. So we could watch 2 markets at once. I'm going to have the Nikkei over here on the right, because I have been watching Nikkei. So this is the Nikkei over here on the right, and then I'm going to have Bitcoin on the left, and then I'm going to use the left chart to go through and bounce back and forth between markets. So anyway, let's go through. Let's get to some questions. Let's take a look. Going through. Oh man, lots of good questions. Where do you see gold going, Coach? I kind of went through that. Can you go over how you would have entered on the Nikkei? Armando, yeah, let's go through that. Actually, that's a good question. I was talking about the good trade on the Nikkei, but I never did say exactly how I would enter on it. So here's the Nikkei over here on the right. I'll go exactly how I would enter on this one. So let's go through. I actually did it in an account I'm testing. So I did take this short on an account that I am testing, and I'll walk you through it. Let me see if maybe I could pull up that account. Let's see this. Let's see if I could pull up an account that I'm testing. Let's go through. Give me a second, guys. If I will let me. Give me just a moment. Logging in, I always forget my passwords. So I will show you how I entered it and why I entered it. If you just give me a moment. I've stopped relying on my memory for passwords, and I've started just keeping them in a secure location because my memory is just horrible sometimes. So here we go. Okay, if you guys remember that 50K account that I was testing, let's talk about this. Okay, here we go. This is the Nikkei, Japanese market. I'm going to review what I was looking at and how why I entered the trade, how I did it, and what was going on. I think it was that. Let's take a look at the 1 hour chart first. I kind of went over it, but I went over it when I did the analysis. So essentially, this is where we were at, right? We, sold off, consolidated, rallied, sold off, consolidated, rallied. And we had those measured moves that I was talking about, right? Where we were measuring these moves. And so you could do the same thing. So there's a few things at play, okay? Because you could do the same thing on the, not only on the sell-offs, you could also do the same thing on these rallies, okay? So number one, the first thing I was watching, very basic technical analysis. This was support. This is support and resistance, and you could see that there was some support there. And we was rallying up to it and into that support. And so the next thing I did was zoom into a 5-minute chart. Nikkei does look ugly because it doesn't have that nice volatility and liquidity that the NASDAQ does. But yeah, you can see nice areas of support and resistance on the smaller time frame. See, support and resistance here, 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 and here. I'm not great as making the bubbles or pointing these out as often, but very clear and very straightforward. So we rallied up there, and if I take these measured moves, you could do it on the same way. Okay, you could do it pretty dang close to the same, pretty much the same exact way you're doing the shorts, right? So taking this, I don't know if I did this one or I think it was this second one, but anyway, it was either that or it was this one. But you guys get the idea. So we was rallying up, and I said, okay, well, this is a good level. And then I also use a little bit of technical analysis where I'm like, okay, well, are we going to rally up to this point, or how's this going to do? I want to get into a short. We're at a level of support and resistance, and sure enough, we did end up having a 3-bar reversal. I don't know exactly where I got in. Let's take a look. Now I remember this is a test. This is only a test account. So if we look at this, this will tell me it was a short trade. So it was at that 3-bar reversal. I believe it was 340. Where's 340 at? So it's basically right there. So that's where the short was, and I was only scalping it because I hit max profit, right? So just boom, boom, in and out, and of course, you wish you always had a runner. You wish you would have done this. Like, oh man, I wish this was in my other account, and I wish I would have held it for much longer. But just testing it out, testing for this type of trade. But that's all it was a 3-bar reversal. The same thing I always talk about every single night. There's no amazing secret in trading. It really is, and you can really boil it down to some of the most simplest things in the markets. You really can. But that was it. So hopefully that gave some explanation or gave a good answer to you. Let's get to some more of these questions. Do you find more success in trading with tick charts? What tick chart is the best? NAS trader, no, I wouldn't say find more success, because I would have to, quantify what I mean by the word more, right? I would just say I do find success using the tick chart in terms of it helps me during very volatile times like the New York session. I don't use the tick chart very often during slow markets. The way I use and the way I trade slow markets is what you see here. It's primarily the 1 hour chart and primarily the 5-minute chart. Very rarely do I use a 100 tick chart. I use the 100 tick chart during times of high volatility, like the New York session. And if you want to see that, just tune in Topstep TV during fast markets. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I explained it in really good detail. And it's all on YouTube. It's recorded. And you guys have that luxury of rewatching those things. I'm going to continue. Let's keep taking a look around here. Let's go. I'm just going back and forth, watching these markets, seeing if there's anything set up. Cleaning up my charts. I like my charts very clean. I don't like a lot on them in terms of indicators or drawings or any of that stuff. Let's take a look at gold. Gold's getting a little bit of a pullback here. So if gold does pull back down towards like 608, then I might take a look at a long here in gold. And then, of course, the one and only Bitcoin. The one and only Bitcoin. I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to be on this account. I'm going to be preemptive. And I'm going to go ahead and put a buy. Let's go ahead. I'm going to prepare some buy. I'm going to start buying. I'm going to be a little bit preemptive here in Bitcoin. I'm going to just do kind of what I was doing last night. Last night, I got stopped out. Last night, if you guys remember, I was buying Bitcoin right here. I got stopped out last night at like down here, and then Bitcoin just went straight up after. So I'm going to do the same thing I did last night. Hopefully not take a loss, but see if I could buy Bitcoin as we stay in this consolidation and see if I could build a position here towards 88,800. So we'll see. Yeah, I was stopped out too early. Didn't have a wide enough stop. Like I said, that's the thing about testing Bitcoin and testing a new market. Seeing how it reacts, seeing how it moves, seeing how, like, does it hunt stops? How's the technical analysis? And just getting used to it overall. Yeah, it was a pretty tight stop. I mean, it was based off a dollar amount. Like, okay, I'm going to risk another $1,000. Like for this example, I'm okay with risking $1,000. How do I want to risk $1,000? Well, we'll see. We'll see how this one plays out here in the Bitcoin, in the coin of bits. We'll see. It's been buy the dip, right? So we're buying Bitcoin, and I'm going to be the only one that loses live in front of everybody, buying Bitcoin 2 nights in a row. We'll see if I can have that on my resume. Losing Bitcoin 2 nights in a row, buying it. Do less contracts. Well, it's about the dollar amount for me, not less contracts. It's so in terms of risk, I'm saying I want to risk 1,000%, or not 1,000%. I want to risk $1,000. So how big of a contract size do I need? Or how many contracts do I need to risk $1,000? This is where my stop's going to be. My stop is not going to move. It's going to be right below this pivot. There's going to be an argument to be made that I have my stop at below this pivot, right? So there's an argument to be made that I can have my stop below this pivot. If we do break down, it's going to continue to sell. But since this is a sim, this is a demo account, I'm just simply testing. I want to see how Bitcoin reacts, and that's what I do when I'm trading a new market. It's new to me. I haven't traded it before. We'll see. We shall see. And I have Nikkei over here. I'm watching it. I might be tempted to get in long to see if we could break above 990s. Maybe we could break above 39,000 and have a bit of a pullback. We'll see. I'm watching Nikkei over here as well. So I'm going to see if I can build a position. I'm going to actually do a little bit more because that's $95. Let's see if we could build a decent position there. And while I do this, we'll get to some questions. Let's get to some questions. Where do I learn my style of trading? How did you learn technicals? So you guys think I joke sometimes about this, but the power of the internet, right? YouTube, Google's, you could find any technical analysis pattern. There's no secrets. Like I said, there really is no secret to trading. You could Google what is a 3-bar reversal, and you could find out what a 3-bar reversal is. A lot of where I learned how to trade has been just me trading myself, experiencing it, trading it. I trade options. Options is a big part of my trading and my income. I mean, this Topstep account, my live Topstep account, is a small portion of what I'm doing to help traders, and I've really enjoyed this. I don't want to call this a hobby. I think it would be wrong for me to call this a hobby. It will provide a very bad message if I called what I'm doing here at Topstep a hobby. In this account, it's more of, I want to show traders like, hey, you know what? Okay, I want to help traders, and then Topstep has given me this platform and said, hey, you want to come over here and help some traders? I'm like, oh, sure, I'll try it. I'm not really too far interested. I was just doing this kind of as a bet with one of my friends, and I really enjoyed helping some traders because nothing was more excited than to get some messages and like, hey, you know, you changed my life. I got a payout, and and I really enjoyed that, getting these positive messages. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. I'll do some more, and then one thing led to another. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do this more often, and then everybody kind of knows what happened, right? At the beginning of the year where someone's like, well, those who can do, those who can't do, teach. And I'm like, you know what? It's only right for me to kind of show that I know how to trade. And I started a combine and said, okay, we'll see how far I could push this. And I could trade while I'm on TopstepTV. I could trade while I'm coaching, and I could trade while I'm teaching. Might as well. I'm sitting here in my computer chair in front of everybody. So I might as well trade and show by doing. And so that's what's led me to this live account and doing it as more so a demonstration. And so I would say I'm demonstrating it like a teacher is demonstrating it on a whiteboard. But options is my love. That's where I learned how to trade. Trading options by Tasty Trade. So that's where I learned it, and it was everything: reading books, watching videos, watching everything I could since I was really young. Yeah, here's Nikkei breaking up now. Yeah, hesitant on a long. Let's see what these other markets are doing. So we are long Bitcoin. We are long Bitcoin. Man, we'll watch Bitcoin here. While I continue, like at 277 worth of risk, we're gonna continue to buy this. We're gonna continue to buy the Bitcoin. Since I was where can I follow you personal? I don't post personal information, double C. I don't like to put my personal information out there. It's not something that I ever do, or I've never been a fan of it. And I don't have social media. Before I came on here, I deleted Facebook, MySpace, all social media. But then I started, as I've enjoyed this more recently, I started a Twitter account, and I only post stuff related to trading. It's nothing personal. I don't like to post personal. So that is where, if you ever wanted to see anything in terms of what I would put on social media, it would be that. That's the closest thing to a social media I get. That and what you're seeing right here, right now. To MySpace. You guys don't remember MySpace? That was my one thing I remember ever having when I was in school. Outside of that, nothing, no social media. How do you get more discernful trading Asian session and New York session? I'm not sure what you mean by that, John. Going through some of these questions. What in the world is going on? Dakota, you get your wisdom teeth out, pulled, and you're trading Bitcoin and playing on Twitter. Yeah, that's what happens when you lose some wisdom. You get onto Twitter and start trading Bitcoin. I mean, those are correlated, right? Yeah. Yeah, those are correlated with dentures. What is my final strategy for the NASDAQ? It depends. I don't have a final single strategy, everybody. I want to make sure that's so straightforward and clear. Everything I do, you guys see it. That's the reason to tune into slow markets. I'm on slow markets Sunday night through Thursday night. I'm on fast markets on the day show, basically Monday, Tuesday, Friday, on Power Hour Wednesday. And I'm doing the same thing every single night. It's the same thing, in and out, same thing. Support and resistance, same thing. Same. It's not a single strategy. There's no one trick strategy. There's no secret. It really is the same thing, and it could be very, very boring. So, all right, let's see this. Let's see how Bitcoin's going to react now. This is going to be interesting. Is Bitcoin going to break through and sell and hit 88,000, or is it going to hold this? Like I said, I'm willing to risk $1,000 on this trade because this is a sim account. This is a demo account, and I don't trade Bitcoin, but we are definitely going to be playing it. Let's go ahead and we're going to buy some more because I'm willing to risk $1,000 on this account to see how we react. And then I'll buy some more if we do get down to 88,400. This is how I scale in. Jump around. No, I wouldn't say jump around. It's the same ideas, right? Technical analysis. It's technical analysis. Support and resistance. Keeping things simple. I would say, you know what? I lied. My main strategy is risk management. There you go. There's your answer. If someone asks me next time, that's going to be my answer for everything. Anytime someone asks me what's my strategy, I'm going to say risk management. Going forward, when people or anybody asks me, what's your strategy? Risk management. That's going to be my answer going forward. Risk management, tune into slow markets. Is that going to mess everybody up? That's my strategy, is risk management. Yeah, 3-bar reversal. There you go, Lido. You can come watch me lose money. 70% of the time I lose money. Risk management. Struggling through process. So here we go. Risk management. What's Dakota's strategy? Risk management. And then what is risk management? How do I use it? So I think that's fair. So I think let's go in depth. So the rest of this class, let's talk about risk management. Okay. And maybe we could go over my strategy, which is risk management, because that's the main thing I focus on. Because I could say my strategy is different when the market's consolidating. My strategy is different when the markets are trending long. My strategy is different when the market's trending down. My strategy is different during rollover. My strategy can technically be different when I'm trading NASDAQ. My strategy can be different when I'm trading the Nikkei. My strategy changes, okay? The markets change. The way I trade the markets change. And that's the reality of it. I trade technical analysis. I now wish I was long the Nikkei, right? Because this is a very basic one right here. A nice reversal and a breakout to the long side. It's just an example. But yeah, basic technical analysis and, using that risk management, testing things. I've never traded Bitcoin before, but here I am just testing it out. We're going to, like I said, I want to risk about $1,000 on this trade again. So I don't mind doing that. How do we get to 1,000? It's probably going to be, I probably won't be able to get to 1,000 here. That's fine. That's fine. It is what it is. Let's just try and get into whatever will be 1,000. But that's it. I think tonight I'm going to focus a little bit more on risk management. And part of risk management, everybody, is the way I view it. Part of risk management is the mental side, like your psychology, where if we are athletes, right? We want to be professional. We want to be athletes, and we want to become successful. Just like a professional athlete trains their physical body, right? And it's not going to let me get to 1,000. It's not going to let me get to 1,000. So just like a professional athlete, basketball player, football player, Olympic athlete, any Olympic athlete, they train, right? They train, they exercise, they eat healthy, because the way that they are professional is by being athletic. They go out and they perform. They physically perform. And so for me, in that same mindset, the way that I'm athletic is mentally, right? It's using my brain. I'm sitting here at a computer desk. I'm sitting here in a chair, and everything that I'm doing professionally and the way that I make money and I make a living is trading the market. And I do that with my brain. And so I view it like a professional athlete needs to take care of his body and make sure his body can perform at its peak. And so I have to make sure I take care of my mental state. I have to take care of my mind. I have to take care of my psychology in that same sense. And so I do put a lot of emphasis on my mental state. I've had conversations with a psychologist, right? Whenever I'm feeling down, whenever I have a bad day, whenever I'm trying to stop drinking caffeine. Like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to go and try and just kick caffeine by myself. Easy. Psychologist, talk to a psychologist. What's going to help me feel better? Working out, feeling comfortable, feeling good in my own body. And so we need to, as traders, as professional traders, as athletes in the environment that we are, need to put just as much time and work and work ethic and effort into your mental and your psychology, because that's where we perform. Could you imagine a basketball player that doesn't do anything all summer, thinks they could just enter into a NBA game and perform, right? No, they would pull a muscle, they'll get hurt, they'll struggle. This one looks like I'm just gonna get smacked on this trade. And it's the same thing here. If you're not practicing, if you're not staying healthy, if you're not working on your mindset, then you're going to struggle. Reprogramming mind. No, Dennis Rodman still took care of his body. Dennis Rodman, despite what many think, took care of his body. He still ran. He was still able to get up and down the court. He was not. He was a special case. I absolutely. He's one of my favorite players. He's one of my favorite players. But he still took care of his body. Don't worry. He took care of his body in order to still perform and get up and down the court. You're gonna trust me. Yeah. So anyway, that is also part of risk management. You can also go down and I'm going to go down this rabbit hole because we're talking about risk management. We're talking about my strategy. And so I'm going to talk about every aspect of risk management. And that's going to be going from, like, look at this. You guys could see here, I have a wired mouse. There's been times where I'm trading and my mouse dies. Okay, if I'm trading the New York session and I get into a big position and I'm trying to get in or out of a trade, I'm not going to be running to go get some batteries for my mouse or for my keyboard or any of my equipment, right? So I know this is going to the extreme level, but it's also very important, right? Where my equipment needs to be up to my standard, up to what I want to do. This is me being a professional. Going back to the fun analogy of sports, you're not going to see a professional basketball player go in with flip-flops, right? Or a raggedy old pair of shoes that will just blow out on him. So every little aspect, down to the equipment, down to the mental state, down to what you're eating, everything builds and leads up to performing your best in the markets. So hopefully some of that makes sense. And here we are getting stopped out of Bitcoin. Getting stopped out buying Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin trader, and it shows. So anyway, yeah, that is part of my strategy. That is the backbone and a major part of my strategy. It's taking care of my body and my mental state. It's taking care of making sure I have the equipment to perform when I need to perform. And it's then going down to actually clicking the button. And you guys get to see it every single night. You guys get to see it when I'm on TopstepTV. And it's technical analysis. It's very basic technical analysis. And as we're going to, I'm counting this as a loss. Like I don't see this recovering. I mean, is it going to stop me out and then rally? Maybe. Maybe down here could have been the stop. That would have been a better stop. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just going to take this one as a loss. But let's move on. Yeah, going down to all of these other markets, right? You guys get to see it all the time. Very basic technical analysis. It's consistency every single night during slow markets. It's the same thing every night, right? I go through the rapid fire. I talk about every single market that I'm watching, like NASDAQ, crude oil, Nikkei, gold, and we've been talking about Bitcoin a little bit. And it's the same thing. I look at it a daily, I look at it at an hourly chart, and it's the same analysis. Very consistent, very repetitive, and can also be very boring, where I'm looking at support and resistance. I'm looking at what the market did. I'm looking at these big patterns from a technical standpoint. And then I look for things to set up. And then once something does set up, which is very simple, right? You could easily say, and sometimes it frustrates traders I try and work with and I try and coach, it is, wow, that was too simple. Like, why? Like, how's that? How did you do that? You're making that look too easy. Like, there's something to it. I'm like, no, there's not. It's being prepared and then managing risk. And you guys want me to talk about the trade I did earlier today during the New York session? Go rewatch the New York session during fast markets today with me and Rips, and you could see exactly what I do because I did it in my live account. So let's watch it. So I'm going to go over that today's trade in my live account. So let's just go pull up my live account, and I will show you exactly what I did in my live account, and I'll talk and I'll walk through it. So let's do that. And you can see the execution. Let's go. What is it? Charts, data. Show chart execution. So here we go. There it is, my live account. Gotta make it clean. So my live account, same analysis. Actually, I'm gonna wait to pull the data because it's just makes the chart look ugly. So here we go. Here is the NASDAQ. I trade the NASDAQ during the New York session, during fast markets, and this is exactly what I was looking at. Same exact thing. Aaron. So same exact thing, same exact analysis I was talking about earlier. You know, I was looking for a head and shoulder, right? Head, shoulder. I was doing this analysis live in front of everybody as it was happening. And I said, okay, there is a major resistance area in this zone, in this 230s, in this 240s. You know, if we break above and hold above 250, I'm bullish. I think this thing might go up to 21,300. If we do fail to break above 240, 250, then I am bearish, and I think this thing could go back down towards the lows, and that was the trade. It was as simple as that. It really was, and you guys could watch it where I was just saying, yeah, if we could break above 250s, whatever, I'm bullish. If we fail to do that, I'm bearish, and I think we could rotate back down here. Basic support and resistance, basic consolidation in this level, sell highs, buy lows, and that was the trade. Like, that's all it was. Next thing I did was I zoom into a 5-minute chart. Same thing happened in the 5-minute chart. You know, resistance, resistance, resistance. During the New York session, here we go, New York session, play by play, we rallied up. We tried, right? We tried as much as we could, and this was the trade. So this was the trade right there. So we tried, we rejected. Once we rejected, rejected the 250s. I said, boom, there is my short. I don't know why I have a 3-minute chart. We have a 5-minute chart because I use a 5-minute chart. Once we rejected those 50s, I looked for a short, and I said, I want to short this market, and now I could go ahead and pull up the chart data. And there it is. There is the short. Okay, so there's the short right there. We rejected, we sold off, and I shorted, I think this candle. Is that the candle? We'll see. Let's see. We could pull this up. Here's the, we'll pull, because I have the 100 tick chart. And this was a hard trade to hold. So there it is. There's the short. You guys could see it. Short 215s. So shorted 215s. And the reason why I short this. So I analyzed and I went through the trade on this 5-minute chart. It was a 5-minute chart. There's the short. That looks better. So that was the trade. You guys seen my thought process. I looked it over. I said, okay, my trade is now to look for shorts, and I'm going to look and I'm going to sell each rally. So here's what we did. I mean, this is a pretty straightforward. So this was the run, right? So I'm going to try and line these up as good as I can. There's the rejection. And if we look at the rejection there, this is what it looked like. You can see there's the rejection of those 50s on the 100 tick chart. And this is kind of just zooming it in for me and saying, okay, I'm zoomed in. I can now see what's happening in right here. And then from a technical standpoint, yeah, with a little bit of hindsight, that looked pretty straightforward. There's a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. And we broke through that neckline. So that is what I was watching. Say, we broke the neckline, sold all the way down. You can see here on the 5-minute chart, we sold all the way down to like 170s, 180s. We rallied up, and I said, okay, I want to get short on this rally. So we rallied up, and we consolidated a little bit. We did sell off once we sold off. And I'm like, okay, now's the time. I'm going to look for a pullback. We started to get a pullback. I entered in short 5 contracts. And the reason why I did that was, if we zoom in, and you can see exactly why. I'm going to clear this off one more time. So what I was looking for was a simple pullback. I was looking at a simple pullback for an area of support and resistance. We hesitated there for a moment, and you can see over here on the 100 tick chart, you see this hesitation on this sell-off. So as we sold off, right, you know, a lot of times we pull back and, you know, support and resistance becoming support and resistance. That was my entry. My stop loss, I believe my stop loss was, I don't know where it was. You'd have to watch. My stop loss was right here. So that was my stop loss. It was, go rewatch Fast Markets. You'll see. My stop loss was right around here, because to me, resistance. Like, this was the major resistance. The same thing I was talking about on the 5-minute chart, saying, okay, I want my stop loss there, because if we do end up running, right, because NASDAQ loves to hunt stops, where if people were shorting this, NASDAQ has that tendency, run stops and then sell off, right? So I'm like, hey, there's my stop loss. I'm risking about like $2,800. And I'm looking for this market to come and return down to this low. I'm getting a 2-to-1 risk reward, even a 3-to-1 if we do break the session lows. You can see I closed it out a little bit early, where obviously if you would have held it and had a perfect trade, it would have been a good 4-to-1 risk reward. But yeah, I was happy with taking this, and sure enough, held it through this chop. And there was so much chop, my stop loss did not move. And just like you see all the time, just, hey, this is my strategy. I know I lose 70% of the time. I only win 30% of the time. And statistically, I'm just going to let this trade play out. I'm risking 2,800. And this was rough. Like, psychologically, this is where I'm saying, psychologically, it's hard for a trader, for a person to hold a trade that is still valid based off of their setup throughout this mess. Like, this is a mess. This is a lot of chop. Psychologically, it is very, very hard for somebody to hold a trade through this mess. And part of that is, like I said, it's the mental side. It's knowing your strategy. It's knowing your risk management, and it's knowing the statistics of what you're trading. I talk about statistics a lot. Statistics is very important to me, and understanding those statistics. And yeah, this easily could have been a loser. I accepted the loss as soon as I placed the trade. Say it's a loss, right? And then the trade sold off. I didn't close it, right? And it's very tempting to even close it on these little rallies, right? Just sell off, rally. Sold off, and these are 30-point rallies. These are not small rallies during the New York session. Look, you can see each one of these. Like, these are big moves. These are big moves in the NASDAQ, 30 points. And then it eventually got to my target, and as soon as I seen this market reversed, boom, closed it out, and I was done, and I was finished with fast market. So one trade, like $5,000 on this. Of course, I was wanting to see this type of a move, this major sell-off. Everyone wants this type of a move, right? It's like, as soon as you get in a trade, you want the market to move in your favor fast, right? Everyone wants that this big move, this flush. I was thinking that maybe we could get it right here, and I was like, okay, we're gonna flush, and market was resilient, and as soon as we just bounced up, I'm like, dang, I'm out, I'm gonna be done. And then sure enough, who's gonna predict this big, like, crazy move? And then we finally got that flush. What was this? An hour after I was out of the trade. But sometimes the market just flushes and just goes straight down, and I could catch 100 points plus, right? This was what? I don't know how many points this was. This was, I don't know, 50? Was this 50 points? Yeah, whatever it was. So that, I think, is as close as what I could explain my strategy, or at least some of my strategy. There you go. And it all evolves around the psychological part. It all evolves around the risk management and trading statistics. When you look at trading statistics, we review it. I review it all the time. I look at trading statistics and say, okay, dang, $1,000 loss. That's unfortunate. That sucks. Talking about risk reward, let's continue trading, knowing that this is one trade, this is one data point over a long period of trading and a long period of statistics that has a positive expectancy. Whew, that was a lot. That was a lot, everyone. My mouth is dry. Anyway, so what do you guys think of that? What's everyone's thoughts on that? This is recorded, so you can feel free to rewatch that as much as you want. Let's take a look at how these markets are doing. Let's watch these markets while I take a moment and let's see here. Good. That's my strategy. I'm not going to say, like, my strategy is using this indicator. I'm going to buy when the indicator does this. I'm going to sell when the indicator does that, because I think that's wrong. Not the idea of that particular strategy. I think it's wrong for me to show somebody, like, hey, this is how I trade, because I don't want traders just copying it blindly. And it's not right for traders to just say, hey, I'm going to copy your strategy exactly how you do it. And because what's going to happen is you try and copy exactly what I'm going to do, and then you end up, everyone does it differently, and they end up losing, and they're like, oh my gosh, I was trading Dakota's strategy and I lost all this money. Like, no, it's not. It's price action. It's basically basic technical analysis, and it's risk management. You guys get to see it every single day, every single night. And I post that risk disclosure there in the YouTube chat for a reason, because I don't want anybody to say I'm giving signals. I'm giving a strategy. I'm not giving a strategy. I'm talking about risk management. I'm talking about, how to become a trader, or at least a decent trader. At least I'm trying to help you guys do that. 3-bar reversal on the 3-minute on the Bitcoin. Am I going to trade? I'm going to have another Bitcoin trade. I don't know. Is this a double top on Bitcoin? No, I was saying that last night too. Let's take a look. I don't know. I think I'm kind of over Bitcoin. I'm annoyed with it, but so far the technicals played right. We broke through that, and that could have been a trade. I don't know. I don't trade Bitcoin. What's gold doing? Over here, not supposed to be getting a drink. I actually like this gold setup. I'm going to jump in gold. Actually, right here. Let's do it. I like this. Okay, here we go. Here's a good example. You guys want to see an example of gold. You want to see an example of a trade. So I was looking for a pullback in gold. Okay, and so let me explain this, because we're at an area of support, and this is a pullback in gold so far. I want to make sure I have a stop loss. So here's a pullback in gold. Here's a level of support, right? Support and resistance. Support and resistance. This is a decent level of support and resistance right here. And it was even actually this. And you guys seen, when I came on slow markets, what did I say? I'm going to look for a pullback in gold, and then maybe look for a long, and maybe look for a continuation. I was kind of wanting to see gold pull back all the way down to like 08s, maybe looking for a pullback down here, which we still might get. But yeah, it looks like maybe this is the pullback. I mean, this very well can be the pullback, because now we're starting to find some buyers step in. We're starting to find some support here. Maybe I'm a little bit late to the party, but that is okay. We have this candle, and we have, if I close this out, and we have this other candle right here. So the risk would be kind of below that one. I'm okay risking $1,000. And now if we do break out, I can see us continuing to the long side. Yeah? How's that for a strategy? There's a good one so far. Then we'll jump this one in. Get out and push. Wow. Let's tighten this up just a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. This thing can still sell off and get back down to this 606, 608. Anyway, yeah, I enter and the market goes. Not on Bitcoin though. Bitcoin's the market. I just don't have. I don't have my. I'm not used to Bitcoin. These other ones I'm used to, and I trade for a long time. Bitcoin is just one of a kind. It has its own brain. Let's get to some more questions. Oh my gosh, time goes by so fast. Before I get to a few more of these questions that are coming in, remember, we did the drawing last night. If you, we had 20 winners for that Topstep Labs. There's now, I'm already talking to some of them. Some of the winners for the Topstep Labs. That was yesterday. Now remember, that's different from the VIP. That is different from the VIP. Stay tuned to the TopstepTV day show for the VIP. My VIP is going to be in January, so still have an opportunity for that. It's going to be just like this group session or this VIP lab, or this Topstep Labs, where the more you enter, the higher your probability is of getting into the VIP. Yeah, I'm excited. Tomorrow's the first time. 20 traders. Who's in the chat? Tell me, are any of the 20 traders that won it here in the chat? I'm curious. They're already submitting questions. I'm excited. We're watching gold. Woo, gold is moving now. Steven, I'm here. Oh, I don't know. Is it? Oh, well, I don't even know. That was a bad question. Yeah, I should have realized. Why would I be asking that question when I don't really know? How am I in gold like this? What signal? I explained it. Douglas. I went through that. And what exactly triggered me in? I liked it. I liked the risk reward. I liked the entry. Was there any? Okay, maybe this is where it might be a little bit confusing. There was not an exact trigger point. Maybe this is where I confuse a lot of traders. Is there was not an exact trigger point, and so maybe that can confuse people. Maybe that can make it like maybe confuse. I don't know. There was not an exact trigger point saying that if we break this exact price, I'm going to buy. Okay, not on this trade. I simply I like the trade. Not to say what is it? Roaring Kitty? Isn't that what he said? I like the trade. I like this market. But yeah, I mean, basic technical analysis, I got in at a limit and it looked like we're going to be breaking up. It gave me a good risk reward, good level to put my stop. And I could see this making a move up into, can we see the 20s? Maybe we see the 20s tonight. But yeah, no exact trigger. I don't really have exact entry points, like exactly a 3-bar reversal I get triggered in. It's not something you can really program a bot. You can't really program it because there's a little bit of intuition in terms of just getting in at support and resistance, because to me, I'm looking at everything as a zone, and I can't say, well, this is a zone. Where exactly do you get in the zone? I'm like, I don't know. Depending on how the market reacts once you get into that zone, maybe you could go off of a 3-bar reversal, and the 3-bar reversal on gold on the 5-minute chart is going to be right here. There is the reversal candle. You can see it right there, and so you can technically say, not that one, this candle right there. This candle is the reversal candle. And so maybe once that breaks, you could say that one is. But then again, I like to get in early and be a little bit preemptive to get a better risk reward, even though I lose a little bit more than that. So sure, you can say technically that would be the trigger, but I don't get as good as a risk reward sometimes. So yeah, that is that. And then I don't let anybody affect your trades. You trade the strategy. It's process over profits. Where, yeah, I know I was seeing the chat say, close it. You should have closed it. It's going to turn around. I don't really care if it turns around. It seemed like today during the New York session, it's process over profits. We're going to see if we can get to these 20s, and I'm going to trail this. If not, I just take the loss. Okay. I think that is coming up on time. 12 more minutes. I'm going to get to a few more questions. And yeah, what a class. This was a fun one tonight. There was a lot of action. There was a lot of volatility for a slow market. It was a fun one. I'm going to be on Topstep TV tomorrow during Power Hour. So you can even see how I like to trade during Power Hour. It's during the last 1 hour of the New York session. I trade that as well using the same thing you see in front of you. I just use a little bit of a different chart, right? Instead of I use the 5-minute, and then I'll use, say, a 100 tick. You guys get to see it. Couple more questions before we finish it off for the night. Is Dakota, when you're on a drawdown for the week, how is your mindset? Jed, when I get into a drawdown, my mindset is exactly the same as at any other point. And I know it can be hard, and I know it's hard to say because drawdowns can be more mentally taxing, and you could go through a lot more emotions during a drawdown than when you're continued just to make money, right? Because just like the markets, your equity does not go straight up. You're going to have drawdowns, right? Like if this was an equity curve, sure, you'll have some good winning streak, but then you go through a drawdown. and maybe you start to get on a winning streak again. But during the drawdown, you can't change the way you trade. You can't say, I'm going to size up, I'm going to go big, because what happens is, the drawdown just goes straight down and it continues, and then you blow your account or you hit your daily loss limit. So trying and focus the same. You have to understand that every single trade you place should never make or break your account. Every single trade you place shouldn't make or break your week even. I mean, maybe it can make your week, right? But it shouldn't break your week. Because you could hit a really good trade and you're like, man, that made my week. But every single trade you place from a risk management aspect should never determine your strategy. It shouldn't determine your mindset. It shouldn't determine how you feel, because all we are doing is we're trading. We're putting money at risk. We are managing that risk, and it's a simple trade and a simple data point in an overall trading statistics and your overall equity curve, right? And you guys see, when I analyze trading statistics, which I do here in slow markets sometimes, which I need to be a little bit more consistent at analyzing trader statistics. Maybe I could set a specific date, like, hey, Thursdays we analyze trader statistics. I'm going to do some trader statistics tomorrow. Like with Coach Jay and I love reviewing and analyzing it with Coach Jay. And you'll see, I could almost guarantee you, that's the closest thing that I have for a guarantee, is that when I review a trader statistics, the more statistics you have, typically the more data and the more confident that we can say, oh, this is what you need to change, this is what you're going to do. And some of the better traders, they only trade 1 or 2 trades a day. Personally, do you take breaks after withdrawing profit? Davis Wong, no. I don't have a scheduled break after taking profits. I treat every single day the same. When it comes to the way I do things, when it comes to withdrawing money, when it comes to placing trades, I mean, of course, we're going to have news events. We're going to have different things happening in the world. We're going to have holidays. We're going to have everything else. It should still be the same process over profits. I mean, just like this, right? Man, I lost $1,000 screwing around with Bitcoin and jump over here into a market I know, a trade set up, and here we are, right? Guess what? No emotion, didn't change anything. I was still risking the same dollar amount, even a little bit less. Still good risk reward, going for a 2-to-1. Maybe we could see these 20s come, before the end of class. If we can break around 26.17, I might close one. I might close one contract on the breakout. I'll show you how I like to close it. So I'll show you over here on the DOM. Let's see if we could do it. Let's see if we could do that right here. One winner, one loser. Same process over profits. Let's see if we get a breakout. I'm gonna show you how I trade. I join ask. It's just the way I like to do it. I don't like to play around with slippage. It's a limit order at whatever the ask price is. Seeing a double top on gold. Well, it's a double top until we break through it. Then it's not a double top, right? Well, let's see if we could break through this. Come on, gold. Let's see what we could do. I only have 7 minutes left, so gold has 7 minutes to do something. There we go. So I'll get out of one right there at 17.7. Let's see if it will give it to me. Okay, there's one. Let's see if we can get another one at maybe 18s or 19s. Let's watch this. So now what I'll do is I'll just move my risk. Let's see if we could hold these 18s now. Now what I'll do is I'll watch this market and we'll see. Leave one on as a runner. Gold ripping. Yeah, we're watching it. Don't like that hesitation. Don't like that hesitation. As long as we're above 17.1. I do set limit take profits, especially during my overnight trades. For example, like if I want to let this trade run overnight, maybe I just do that, right? Maybe we could just put a sell limit at 26.22.6 right there, right? And I'll just go to bed. And I'll wake up in the morning and I'll either lose 280 or I'll make 1700. So sometimes I do that, yeah. Let's see. All right. Let's see if we get back above these 26.18s. Let's see if we get back into these 18s here. I see it's at the ask. Come on, let's do it. 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. Let's see if we can do this. Why do I not put my stop in profit yet? It's because I'm managing this manually right now. And it's, I mean, sure, you're right. There's an argument to be made to put it to right there. But I want to manage this manually. Just watching. If it's going to break, that double top is no longer valid. Not getting the momentum that I want. Sure is taking, it's slow markets. It's slow markets anyway. I might get out of another one, but right here. I don't like this hesitation. We are holding above 617. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm wanting to see. I want to see us hold and find. If we break above 18.1, I think we're in the clear. I'm always nervous on the first initial hesitation after the break, because sometimes what markets like to do is on the initial break, when we break above this resistance, because this to me can be like a resistance zone, sometimes markets like to come back and test it and then rally, right? So that's what I'm, looking at this to become. And looking over here on the 5-minute chart, you can see there is a little bit of a resistance that we did break above as well right there. So there was a little bit of a resistance where we started this sell-off. And so now I think it's a clear path to maybe 18.8. There is a point of resistance right there at 18.8 that I could possibly look for us to, like, right? Maybe we just put a sell limit, right? So if we want to put a sell limit, there's a little spot right there on the 5-minute that if I wanted to put a sell limit, we could, but we need to hold above this area of support first. But other than that, it might be just a straight shot up to these 22 levels and up to this major area of resistance. It is slow markets, so this can be something where it could take an hour to play out. Like this could take an hour to play out because it's slow markets. It's not fast markets. I'm not scalping. This honestly would be a trade I probably should just let it run overnight. Should I just let one contract run overnight? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to let one contract run overnight on this sim account. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close one. I'm going to let one just run. We'll see where it ends up tomorrow. I'm going to get out of this second one. Let's see. Because we could get a decent sized pullback, right? Because based off the analysis on a 1 hour chart, we can maybe even see 32s. Can we see 32s? This is pretty bullish. I'm going to let one contract run. I'm going to go to bed with no take profit and one stop loss. I'm going to try and get out of one more contract here. If we could push more, a little bit more out of these 18s. I'd like to see 18.7. 18.7 would be nice. And then I'll leave one on as a runner. Yeah, I'll give an update tomorrow. I have slow markets tomorrow with Coach Jay. I'm going to be on TopstepTV during Power Hour. Okay, let's see. 18.7s. Come on. We got 18.3, 18.4. Taking his time. All right, I had enough of that one. Okay, there you go. That was it. So I'm basically break even, right? Minus 1,000 on Bitcoin, plus 1,500 here on gold, and then I have a runner And yeah, I'm going to wake up, and on this account, I'm going to either be down $280 or, maybe if gold gets up to this level of resistance, that's 1800. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Gold can move. Gold could move. I mean, maybe we even see a move up to these mid 40s or 50s and test this resistance. We'll see. I'm not going to have a take profit. I'm just going to keep this stop loss in and let this run overnight. So I'm going to leave it at that. It was great. Fun class. Very fun. Not sure how I feel about Bitcoin, but I'll keep playing around with Bitcoin. I'll talk about it. We'll see how it pans out to be. Until then, I will see everybody during Power Hour tomorrow or tomorrow during Slow Markets again. Coach Jay and I. Until then, take care.